Podcasting from the Chicagoland area, this is Game On with Jackson Stewart, where we discuss men's lifestyle, focusing on sex, fitness, relationships, business, and more. We'll be interviewing the best of the best, the hot shots, and the rising stars in the worlds of modeling, fitness, cooking, and more. Influencers who are discussing keeping it sexy while at the top of their game. I'm your host, Jackson Stewart. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the game.
This is Dale Valor.
This is Pamela Ross.
This is Trinasia.
And you're listening
to
Game On with Jackson Stewart.
Game On with Jackson Stewart.
Game On with Jackson Stewart. Killing them!
Follow Game On with Jackson Stewart on YouTube at Game On with Jack, on the official blog www.gameonwithjack.blog, and at the new store www.gameonwithjack.shop. Keep it sexy and game on.
For a better thing, wanna replace me. I'm in a place that I've never been. It's worse than lonely. Can someone tell me they see good in me? There's good in me. Cause I got doubts, I got doubts, I got doubts, yeah. Sometimes I wanna risk it all. Since you left me, struggle, baby, I see pain. Cause I got nothing.
Welcome back to Game On with Jackson Stewart, everybody. Tonight, we're talking about 6 steps for handling families during the holidays. It's that time of the year again when the air is crisp, the lights are twinkling, and families get together, sometimes with very mixed results. And tonight, we're tackling a topic that's sure to resonate with so many of you guys: how to survive those holiday family gatherings. So I know, it can be stressful, but fear not, players, I got you. I got 6 tips or 6 steps, however you want to look at it, to help you navigate the holiday season with your family, maybe with your significant other family, maybe with your friends, whoever it is you're gathering with, and emerge unscathed. So grab your hot cocoa, spike it, settle in, and let's get started. First up, though, I do want to invite you guys, make sure you swing by YouTube at Game On with Jack, patreon.com/Game On with Jack, and the blog, which is back up and running, gameonwithjack.blog, and Twitter, and the player shop, gameonwithjack.shop. So I want to make sure you guys know that there's multiple layers to the game, and you can jump on your social media and enjoy all of it. So let's get cracking. Tip number 1 on how to handle families during the holidays: manage your expectations. All right. So we all have idealized versions of a perfect holiday gathering. You know, it's going to be the perfect food, the perfect drink. You're going to have just great, heartwarming, Hallmark or Lifetime movie moments. But let's be honest, families are messy, friends are messy, human beings are messy, and our relationships are equally just as disturbingly reflective of who we are inside. And things rarely go according to plan. So instead of setting yourself up for disappointment, for failure, manage your expectations. Okay, so how do you do this? Well, remember, the holidays are about spending time with loved ones. Boom. That's the umbrella. That's goal number 1. That's the only goal. What is not the goal is achieving some unobtainable, picture-perfect moment. It's not going to be everybody's wearing a sweater with dogs at their feet while they're reading to a bunch of kids. The goal is about spending time with loved ones. Or maybe the goal is doing volunteer work with your friends, or maybe it is, making the trip to go see that really sick family member that you're not sure if this is their last holiday season or not. You have one goal. That's what you're shooting for. That's the target. And everything else that you've been programmed to believe, you got to accept that it's false. There is no such thing as a perfect holiday gathering. There is going to be stress. There is, now whether or not you let the stress get to you, that's different. But there's going to be family members or friends that you do not want to see, that you're going to be like, oh God, this person came, So accept that there's going to be chaos, but focus on the order. So manage your expectations. Tip 2. I love this one. Excuse me. Plan your escape routes. Know how to get the hell out of there. Look, there's nothing wrong with with needing a little break, especially with a messy family, with a messy gathering, etc. So whether it's taking a walk outside for some fresh air, maybe it's reading a book in a quiet corner while, everybody's in the living room or in the kitchen getting food ready. Maybe it's catching some TV, watching the game or watching a holiday movie or something. Or you jump out and you call a friend for a quick chat. Plan your escape route. All right. So knowing you have a way to momentarily step back from the action can help you stay calm and collected. It can rejuvenate you when you're hearing grandpa or grandma saying some racist shit because they're from a different era. And you're just like, oh, I got to put up with this crap. Or you're getting grilled about where are you in your life and why don't you have kids? Why do you have so many kids? Or whatever it is. Have a way to get out of it. Now, the escape route can vary in scale. It can be an escape route to get you the hell out of there completely. Maybe you've got somebody set up to call you from work at a certain point, and if you answer, they're going to say, hey, we need you to come in. You can put them on speakerphone, whatever, and they're going to give you a viable way out of a bad situation. If you don't answer, it'll go to voicemail, and they know you're having a good time. Or, like I said before, the escape route might just be taking a break. You'd be surprised how successful the escape route of watching a movie, not just by yourself, but getting everybody involved, to watch a movie, because people typically shut up while they're watching a movie. So a trick I would pull is I'd show up with, and this is back in the day when you would actually rent a movie and you could just stream everything now, but I already had movies selected with me, if it was on DVD, or now I would just go and be, hey, let's stream a movie. I'll pay for it. Let's go. And everybody just gets focused. They sit down and they shut up. It's very hard to piss people off when you're not talking. And that's an escape route that not only works for you, but you can take everybody there or most people there on the same escape route with you, but also keep them quiet. Tip 3, find common ground. All right. So holiday gatherings can be a minefield, of sensitive topics. Everything from politics. I had to have a quick drink right there. Everything from politics to religion to, pop culture. Well, instead of focusing on what divides you, try and find some common ground with your family. All right. So talk about your shared interests. Although it might seem like you have nothing in common with these people besides genetics, you have something in common. You guys have something you guys agree on, something you enjoyed once that you could bring back up. That will be a binding and bonding conversation. If it's not an interest you want to talk about, play games together. And this kind of goes back to the escape route. Play a game, collectively think about funny family memories. Laughter and shared experiences go a long way to creating positive connections. And like putting, frosting on top of a cake that's it helps cover up some of those long-standing issues, those topics that come out, they just turn into the same fight that's been going on for the same decade or something. These moments of connectivity, of jovial enjoyment, will help us put up with each other another hour or two. And it's very important. But now here's the thing. If you start to get into divisive topics, then we're talking about tip 4, set boundaries and stick to them. All right. So it's okay to set boundaries with your family. Excuse me. Especially if they tend to be overbearing or intrusive. You got to decide what you're comfortable with and communicate it clearly. Now, here's the thing. If you're bringing somebody with you, or if you are going to someone's family's event, boundary setting gets a little bit more of a challenge. So, whether it's limiting discussions on specific topics, saying no to unwanted requests, like, no, I'm not going to take this lemon pie over to Aunt Judy because Aunt Judy sucks. Like, you got to be able to say no. You got to be able to say what you'll talk about and not talk about. And make sure that you're going to prioritize your own well-being. Because once you get stressed out and then you lay on top of it, bullshit, and then you lay on top of it, people are being kind of intrusive and disrespectful in what they want to talk about with you, then you're gonna blow up. And you're going to look like the bad person at the family dinner because you're the one that lost their cool. And you're like, me lose my cool? Like, so-and-so provoked me, but that's not what everybody's going to remember. They're going to remember you, flipping the table over and throwing a menorah at somebody, or, hitting grandpa with a turkey leg because he was out of bounds, getting too familiar, like whatever it was. And you don't want to put that stress on your own system. So how do you set boundaries? Well, you just say it. Especially if you want to get the person who is notorious for bringing up topics, before you get out to the dinner table, before you get outside playing football, whatever you're going to do, just say, hey, real quick, man, or real quick, girl, whatever. I know you like to talk about work right now, I got laid off, I'm job hunting, the kid, I just as soon not discuss that. I just want to have a good time. I want everybody to have a good time too. So let's not bring that topic up. And be point blank. Don't beat around the bush with it. Well, you don't have to come at them like with a knife, like, damn it, we're not talking about that. But just kind of, like, hey, just real quick. Just want to let you know, I don't want to go through talking about that in front of everybody. And make sure they understand you. Now, if they bring it up anyway, well, then they're just being a dick. Excuse me. And then you can say in front of everybody, hey, I asked you to not bring this topic up. I don't feel comfortable discussing it. Please, for whatever reason, you decided to go against my wishes, but please respect them now. And if they continue to, in kind of a, indirect, backhanded kind of way, get up and excuse yourself. Say, all right, well, hey guys, this was good, but I'm not enjoying this conversation. I think it's best I leave. And just get up and walk out. And let that person look like the asshole. Let them look like they're rude. Now, if you're bringing somebody to the family event, to your family, you're going to have to talk to your family about what they can and cannot bring up. And you're going to talk to your date or significant other or husband or wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, and tell them, hey, look, are there any topics you don't want to discuss? Or you have to tell them, I don't want to discuss a topic between us in front of the family. So it does suck because it's putting a lot on you, having to make sure that you are, the grandmaster of discussions, but at least it alleviates somebody going, oh, I didn't know that was going to offend somebody. Why are you so thin-skinned? No, I told you I want to talk about this. And so they should be able to respect that. On the flip side, if you're going to someone's family event for the holidays, ask them, hey, is there anything you don't want to talk about in front of your family? And that's going to show a lot of maturity and a lot of strength in your communication and your connectivity and your willingness to connect with her family or his family, whatever. That is there anything you don't want to talk about, or is there anything you want to talk about with your family? So boundaries work both ways, okay? Remember, stick to them, prioritize your well-being. Tip 5, be prepared for difficult conversations. Yes. Somebody's going to blow right past you that request. And let's face it, not every family gathering is a Hallmark movie, even though your man Jack freely admits that Hallmark movies and Lifetime Christmas movies are one of my guilty pleasures. I fucking love them. give me a drink and something to eat, and I'll crank out like 3 of those things in an afternoon or an evening. Why? Because they're fun. Because it's always a happy ending, right? Because usually everybody's cute or good looking or whatever. It's pleasant. It's bubblegum for the brain. Don't judge me if you don't give a fuck. I like watching them. But anyway, so if you anticipate potential conflict, prepare for it. Practice what you're going to say in advance. And remember to stay calm and respectful, even if others do not. Because it's okay to agree to disagree and move on. I've been to so many family functions, both my own family, both families of friends or somebody I was dating at the time or involved with. And I've seen all kind of shit break out. I remember once I was bringing someone I was dating, and she and I were late because of something going on with her family. And knowing that the truth would have just made my family pissed off, I lied and said we were caught in traffic. And it got kind of salty between me and a relative. And I said, hey, I'm sorry, what do you want? And things got a little tense for a second, but I left the room. I spoke my piece. And I was like, well, fuck, there's nothing else to say. So, but I knew driving over that was going to be an issue, that we were going to have to, get called on the carpet and explain it. I just took the conversation alone. But that can be tough. And you got to be ready for it, because what you don't want is to get blindsided. You don't want to have a mouthful of Uncle Lewis's renowned bourbon cake, and you're enjoying it, and you get hit with like, hey, so, are you guys living together? And you're like, what the fuck? Because it will take you out of the moment because you're off guard. And when you're off guard, then it's going to be hard to stay calm and respectful. And you're going to lose your cool, and it's going to turn into a thing. And also, excuse me, even if you can't shut it down ahead of time by having just a one-on-one conversation with difficult conversation person, just blow it off. Oh, are you guys living together? Sometimes I see her longer than I should, sometimes not, but we'll talk about that later. And just move on. And if you can stay cool and calm and continue to dismiss politely, but clearly dismissing this person's, this family member's jab at you, they will look like an asshole. They will look like a provocateur. They'll look like the person who just wants to start something, and somebody's going to just say, why don't you just lay off like shit? And then you look cool, you look calm, you look respectful, and you look like the good guy, and you're going to get more of that bourbon cake or whatever the hell it is that you're enjoying. Last tip, I know it's kind of a shorter show, but these tips they move kind of swift and beautiful and simple. That's what I like about them when I wrote them. Make sure you focus on the positive. It's so easy to get caught up in the stress and negativity of family gatherings. You could be gritting your teeth all the way over there. But instead of dwelling on the challenges, make a conscious effort to focus on the positive. Appreciate the moments of joy, the laughter, the connection, the stories, the gifts, the food, the drink, whatever. And remember, the holidays are about celebrating love and family, even if it comes with a few bumps along the way. Because, if you've ever lost anybody, you always think back to the last thing you said, the last birthday party, the last holiday gathering, whatever. And you don't want to ever have your last be one that is marred with, oh man, the last thing I said to that person on Christmas was terrible. The last thing we talked about, it turned into an argument. You don't want that, because that weighs heavily on your soul. So focus on the positive, diminish the negative, even if you got to get out of that environment. Nobody said you got to be all day at mom's house or all day with dad or whatever. So, hey, look, I'm going to be there for an hour, and I got to jump out. I got to do stuff. And they're like, well, what do you have to do that's more important than us? Lie. I got to go do volunteer work. Maybe set up some volunteer work so it's not a full lie, but maybe it's not going to take all day. But sometimes the best way to win an event or win in a situation is to not play the game. You know, and if you guys have ever watched boxing or some martial arts events, usually there are people who win by never throwing a punch. They let the opponent get tired. They remove themselves from the situation and then they move in. So focus on the positive, diminish the negative, and take care of your well-being. Now, I had some bonus tips and questions. Bonus tip, do not be afraid to ask for help. So if you're struggling to cope with family stress, reach out to a trusted friend or a professional. I mean, right now, this time of the year is one of the most stressful times for people because there is all the expectation. There is all the family gathering. You know, all the shit that happens the rest of the year is still here. And it's going to get like tuned up and really showcase when it's holiday time. So seek help, talk to someone who understands and can provide invaluable support and guidance. And don't be afraid to speak to a therapist, a counselor, maybe somebody in the clergy that you trust that you can go to, or a friend or a family member who just is always wise and always listens and respects you and gives you good advice. Now, some questions I wanted to cover in terms of the 6 steps for handling families during the holidays. How do you handle passive-aggressive relatives? You know them. They make their point by not doing shit on purpose or doing indirect shit on purpose. Look past it. Don't engage. And once again, win the fight by not fighting and move on. You know, it's like, well, why'd you put my shoes in the second floor closet instead of right here by the door? Well, you know, and they were just, they were wet. They weren't wet. And it's really just their way of being passive aggressive and messing with you. Just say, oh, okay, thanks. Go up and get them. Boom, move on. Because passive aggressive relatives can only fight with the fuel you give them. What if you're dreading spending time with certain family members? Minimize how much time you have to spend with them. And also debate even if you have to. Because let's face it, your well-being is important. And maybe these people are important to you, but there's just something about them that will push you over the edge this year. Don't see them. And I know, well, Jackson, you said, what if the last time is the last time? Sometimes you do have to remove yourself from a situation because there's no way to win it. And you know you're going to lose your cool. You know they're going to say something that's going to validate why you were dreading seeing them in the first place. Either minimize how much you see them or don't see them at all. Give them a call. Tell me you have to go out of town. Whatever it is, do it. And how can you set healthy boundaries without ruining the holidays? Be clear but respectful. Okay, if you say, hey, I don't want to talk about work because it's really stressful right now, you don't have to say, hey, fuckers, if you fucking ask me to talk about work and beat your asses, you can just say, guys, I don't want to talk about that. I'd much rather talk about you and your amazing job. Or I don't want to talk about, me splitting up or us getting a divorce or me breaking. I want to talk about how your family's doing. So set your boundaries, but then shift that focus, that need to discuss something back onto something positive. And even if it's just letting the other person talk, those are healthy boundary setting techniques. And once again, if your boundary techniques are not being respected, your boundaries aren't being respected, leave. Maybe leaving the room is enough to reset the vibe. Maybe you just got to say, all right, guys, I think I kind of worn out my welcome, or I think that's the end of the day. I'll see you guys later. Yeah, it's going to be a little awkward. It's going to lead to another conversation. But if you stay, what do you risk? Saying something that you're going to, what do you risk? Saying something you're going to regret? Making a spectacle out of Christmas or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa or whatever the event is that you're celebrating. So you don't want that. So there you have it, players. My 6 tips for surviving those holiday family gatherings. Remember, communication, respect, a little dash of humor, and some booze can go a long way. And most importantly, don't take yourself too seriously. Don't take others too seriously. Realize that sometimes the jabs our family give us, especially on the holidays, is all about them and not about us. Because after all, the holidays are about celebrating life, right? And enjoying time with loved ones, even if they drive you a little crazy sometimes, because that's what family does. Thank you for joining me on Game On tonight. I hope these tips help you navigate the holidays with your family and your friends with grace and ease. And remember, above all else, have fun. Cherish the moments you got with these people that you love, even the people that you just barely like. And until next time, guys, keep it sexy and game on.